A lot of people say that nostalgia is a negative thing, that when you look back, you're looking back and longing for the past. I disagree. I think nostalgia is something that is very positive and can cheer you up no end. Let me talk about last night's Monday meetup. We started talking about the Easter holiday and the things that we'd done over the Easter holiday, and I talked about films and all that sort of stuff. And I started to talk about the things that we used to eat in the 60s and the 70s and the food that we have now that we didn't have then. And it started a conversation that, to be honest with you, made loads of us laugh. We talked about school dinners. We talked about food that we hadn't even heard of then. I was talking about the fact that in the early and mid 70s, I'd never heard of a thing called a pizza. And as for curries and things, I don't think we got them in England and saw them really until the early 70s. But for me personally, it was the late 70s. We talked about things like McDonald's and how the first time I had a McDonald's and how I'd had my very first root beer. It was mind-blowing to me, and we talked about it, and the joy of looking back at that cheered not only me up, but everybody else who was in the chat room, and comments were flying in. And I think that's great. When young'uns, I can remember when I was a young boy and my mum and dad and their friends would talk about old times. I'd say to them, oh God, leave it out. Who wants to know about days gone by and all that sort of stuff? And probably if you're young now, you think the same thing. But I think we all go through a cycle whereby we start to learn about life. And part of learning about life and experiencing what's gone on is knowing about your past. I don't think you can move forward without having the past. I think history is a great thing that teaches us many things. And nostalgia is one of those things that does that. I think looking back, sometimes it can be bittersweet. I sometimes think back to my parents and the things that they used to say that sound so outdated now. But they're things that I've lived my life by, the things that were taught back then. And when I look back at nostalgia and things from the past, it leaves me with a smile. It doesn't mean I want to live there, because I know that I've got my future to live towards, and there are things I'm going to do and places I want to be, and all that sort of stuff is yet to come. But to me, nostalgia is a bit like a comfort blanket. It gives me a warm feeling when I think back of the times that have gone past. We talked about food last night. And even just as I'm thinking about it last night, it brings other things to mind. We used to have an amusement arcade on a holiday camp. And one of the things about the holiday camp is it had a club on it. And in the club, they used to have a band in there. And at the time, and I'm talking about the mid-70s, the British package holiday was something that was just about starting. Before the mid-70s, most people went on a holiday in England, because they couldn't afford to fly abroad. And I can remember last night when we were talking about food, thinking about that and how things have changed and how choices that we have today are so much better than what we had then. But when I think about the holidays and things from the past, I have this wry smile because I can remember bands playing in the club, and in the mid-70s, they would be long-haired, big flared trousers, platform shoes, and all that kind of thing. But what was really funny is because it was a holiday camp and it was a family place, they would sing songs like, oh, this year I'm off to sunny Spain, Viva España, and everyone would be sitting there and singing along. And songs like Mississippi by Pussycat, I don't know if you remember that, but that was a huge hit in the UK. But as a teenager, they were songs that I couldn't stand. And now looking back, what hearing those songs does to me takes me back to a place and a time where I can't help but smile. You see, for me, nostalgia isn't something that's negative. Nostalgia is something that makes me smile, it makes me happy. And it's also where I bring to my thoughts things that I learned back then that have helped me in the road of life. And if I couldn't go back to those nostalgic things and I couldn't go back to those times, the lessons that I learned, I wouldn't be using. Does that make sense to you? You see, I think that you learn things from the past that can help you on the way forward. I have so many people who think that if you like the past, you don't want to live in the future. And that's garbage. Because, of course, we want to live in the future. There's nothing we can do about the past. There's the regrets and the mistakes that we made in the past, we can't do anything about. But what we can do is take those times, take the joy from those times, because there was certainly loads of joy. I think back to sitting in our bingo, calling people in. I was 16, 15, 16, maybe 14 at that sort of era. And my job was to call people into the bingo on the holiday camp. People who were generally in their 60s, the age that I am now. But because of the times and the dress that people used to wear, they look so much older than they do at my age now. And I think of the stories that they used to tell that sometimes you'd think to yourself, oh, I do wish they'd shut up. Because I was 14 and 15 and I wanted to hear about what was going on now. And those stories come back to me and they make me smile. They give me a joy. And there are stories from back then that I can remember that I tell to other people because they were so funny. Those times in the past where you can pick up pearls of wisdom, you can pick up memories and things that led you to think a certain way. I don't think that nostalgia is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. If you were in my Monday meetup last night, and perhaps pretty much every one that we've had in the time that I've been doing this channel, we've talked so often about nostalgic things. And if I've learned anything from my time doing this channel, it's that nostalgia brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. Sure, there's bad stuff that went on in the past. Sure, there's things that we went through that we probably didn't like at the time, things that were possibly quite cruel. But out of those things, we've learned lessons. And we can take those lessons and bring them forward in our lives. I suppose what I'm trying to say here is that we evolve. We evolve, hopefully, into better people. But nostalgia, I couldn't be without it. I absolutely love reminding myself of things that have gone by, of people that I've met, of places that I've been, of the things that went on around us. Because in my teens, I was becoming the person that I am today. The lessons I learned back from when I was 9 to probably 17 or 18 or even 19, they're lessons that have stayed with me and guided me as I've moved forward. And without nostalgia, you know, I doubt I'd remember a lot of them, because what was going on around us at the time helped. It helped to remember those moments in life where we were taught things, where we learned things that have helped us move forward as life's moved on. Nostalgia is great. And as much as I love it, I've got 4 shirts here I need to iron and I need to get on. So if you look up there, I'll bung a video up there for you and I'll see you next time.